Big round of applause for our pilots, please.
When people say, "I see" to Brenda Kraus, you can often take that literally. Kraus, a licensed optician, has been on 10 volunteer missions to poor countries to help people see better. Husband Tim has been on 4 such missions with her. The rest she's done on her own. In January, she's planning her 11th adventure.
VOSH is a group of optometrists and opticians and everyday people who take eye care, quality eye care, to third world countries. VOSH stands for Volunteer Optometric Services to Humanity. It is an international group, and I'm a part of the Ohio VOSH group. I found out about it by an article in the Star Beacon interviewing Dr. Bill Campbell from Jefferson, and he talked about this group that took eye care to third world countries, and I thought that was very interesting. At that time in my life, I was really looking for something that I could do to give back. I'd been on mission trips before with the church, but when I read about VOSH, I thought, well, here's something I can do in my own field and feel really useful. So I contacted Dr. Campbell, and he invited me to a board meeting, and I went, and less than a year later, I was on my way to Romania for my first VOSH trip, and it was very exciting.
Tell about a little bit of your background.
Okay, well, I was born and raised in Conneaut, went to Conneaut High School, got married, and have been in the optical business since 1987. I worked for Ron Wheeler, an optometrist in North Kingsville. And in 1991, I got my optician's license, and so I've been a licensed optician since then. And again, like I said, right around 2001, 2002, the kids were out of the house, married, jobs.
Time to go to Romania.
Time to go to Romania.
Hello everybody, we're still alive. We've had an amazing week, and we can't wait to get home to tell you about it in great detail. But for now, we'd like to show you some of the sights of what we've experienced this past week in Honduras.
We're in Honduras.
Yes, we're in Honduras, aren't we?
It was very exciting, very nerve-wracking, because here I was flying halfway across the world with a group of people I really had never met, and I only knew Dr. Campbell, and so that was a little bit nerve-wracking, and I didn't know what to expect. I really had never been on a mission trip like this, so I was clueless going into it, but it was so exciting to see people experience sight for the first time. I mean, clear sight, something we take for granted. We can go to an optometrist and have an eye exam, get fitted for glasses, and most of us do it once a year, every 2 years at the most, and we just kind of expect that, whereas these people, this might have been their first eye exam in their lifetime. So it was pretty exciting. It was very intense. I, again, didn't know what to expect. We did 500 exams a day. That's a lot of exams. On a typical day, we might see 20 people, 10 exams, and then people coming in to have glasses dispensed. So to see 400 to 500 people in a day was exhausting, but really fulfilling. We had, I think on that trip, we had five optometrists with us. So they were really hustling too. Part of the setup of when we go to do a mission, we have an in-country sponsor. You have to get into the country, and part of their job is to pre-register people so that so we have a group of people ready to go when we get there, and there's not that lag time. They have them already registered to come. So their job is to look for people who are underserved, basically. They won't necessarily know if they have particular eye problems, but they know that they have not had the opportunity to have an eye exam. So those would be the first people that we see. interesting, on that Romanian trip, we were told that we were going to go to an orphanage, and so we expected to see a lot of children. And as it turned out, that was not who we saw. We saw more middle-aged and older people. So our setup was sort of on the fly because we had taken a lot of single vision glasses thinking we were going to see children, and instead we saw a lot of older people who needed bifocals. So what we ended up doing, because you have to kind of think on your feet, we started giving out 2 pairs of glasses. So a pair of glasses for your distance vision and then a pair of glasses for reading. So it worked out well too. We take 5,000 to 6,000, sometimes more, pairs of glasses with us, and these are glasses that are donated by people through the Lions Club or Rotary Club, those things. You'll see boxes for donations. And also we do take a lot of the ready readers, the over-the-counter, we call them cheaters, because a lot of times all they need is something for reading. Their distance vision is good, but they don't have any help for reading, so we're able to give them over-the-counter readers, and those are brand new glasses. So that's what we do too.
So people should donate their old glasses?
Absolutely, absolutely. And the interesting thing is, even if they're broken, now we can't use just lenses, so if you just replace your lenses, you can't really donate the old lenses because they have no way of using those. But even if your frames are broken, especially if they're metal frames, they can recycle those, and then they use the money from the recycling to buy more ready readers or purchase ready-made bifocals as well. So yes, definitely turn in your old glasses. Dr. Hoffman here in Conneaut, I'm sure we'll take them. I've gone on Vosh trips with him. He's very active. In fact, he's president of the Vosh Ohio organization right now. We take it at Dr. Ronald Wheeler's office in North Kingsville, Ohio. We take donations all the time. Anybody that's associated with the Lions Club or the Rotary Club, any of those clubs will be glad to take your donations as well. So even like when I get an eye exam, a quarter diopter can make a huge difference, but imagine somebody who's not had any glasses and is being corrected for the first time. Probably the most exciting thing that I saw was in Romania. A young woman was toward the end of our time being there, our clinics, and her prescription was really bad. As I recall, it was like a -13 or worse, which is, you can't even see the big E on the chart. It was bad. And so they had sent her prescription over to me and said, do the best you can. I don't think we have anything that high. So I went, we had a box of glasses that were marked specials, and that's for people with maybe high cylinder or just a very unusual prescription. So I went to that box and thought, man, I don't know what we can do. But I found something was like a -10. So not perfect, but a whole lot better than nothing. And I put them on her, and this huge grin on her face, and she jumped up and said, I can see. And it was exciting. We both had tears in our eyes, just hugging each other. Before I realized, she said it in English and not Romanian, and it kind of took me back, and I said, wait, you speak English? And she said yes, which put me to shame. Here's a woman who can't really even see and is speaking 2 languages, and I do well to speak English.
Do you see other kind of diseases of the eye?
We do. A lot of something called pterygia, which is it's caused by wind and dust and extreme sunlight, and without, because they don't wear sunglasses to protect their eyes. And it is almost a thickening on the white part of the eye, and if it's left untreated, it can actually encroach on the cornea, and then it becomes a real problem. So we see a lot of that. So the doctors give out eye drops to help moisten the eyes, and we give out Plano sunglasses without prescriptions, and encourage them, especially farmers and people who are working out in the sun, to wear them as much as they can to protect their eyes. A lot of cataracts.
What do you do about that?
Well, if the cataracts are advanced enough to have to have them removed, then what we do is the last station of our clinics is a referral station, and we take down all of their pertinent information, name, address, phone numbers if they have that, any contact information, and then we refer them to local ophthalmologists, or a lot of times ophthalmologists will have missions coming in shortly after we've been there, and we will give them their names so that they can have the surgery done. Interesting thing we found out in Panama this year was that most of those people that we referred will only have one eye done, even though they have cataracts in both eyes, because then they can do twice as many. So they'll do, you know, what they can to best correct the one eye. And then chances are they will not have the other eye done. Now I've been to Romania, we've been to Tanzania, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Honduras, and Panama. So I think those are the ones I've been to. I've been on 10 missions so far. So it's been real, and everyone is unique. It's, you know, you think you have it down pat, this is the way it's going to go, and you get to the country and, you know, the setup is not what you expected. Usually they set us up in either a school or a church, or sometimes a public building that has maybe a big room that we can all set up at the same place. And we have different stations. People come in, they're registered. From there they go to visual acuities, and what that is, just to see what they can see without any correction. So that gives the doctors an idea of where to start on the exam. From there they go to the actual doctor's station where they have their eye exam to determine the prescription. Then they are sent to what we call the pickers, which we would call a dispensing area. And that's where all the eyeglasses are set up in boxes according to prescription. And the person comes in, they are given the prescription, and then our workers take that prescription and go to these boxes and find something that's as close as they can to that prescription, and they try it on the person, have them look at something to read, either a newspaper or, like I say, their Bible or some other sort of reading material. And if that is good, if they're seeing well, they agree, yes, they're seeing well, then from there they come to where I've been kind of stationed for the last few missions, and that's fitting the glasses, making sure they're in good repair, and or referring them to an ophthalmologist. If, when they look at that prescription, those glasses aren't working for them, then that worker goes back to the box, finds something close but tweaked a little bit, and they try that pair. So it may take, 5 or 6 times, may work the first time, you just don't know. An interesting thing too is we've found that sometimes the prescription will be spot on with the glasses that we've given, but the people will say, I can't see. Nope, I can't see. It's because they don't like the frame. So, it's true anywhere. Fashion is something. So part of my job, I always feel like I call myself the fashion police. I'm the last line of defense. So if somebody comes through and it's a little old lady and they've given her this humongous pair of glasses, I'll send them back and say, no, she deserves a pair that are fashionable. So we'll go back and try to find something a little bit more fashionable if possible. So, it's like with anybody wants to feel good in what they're wearing, and so they deserve a nice pair of glasses as well. And I have seen over the last few years that there are fewer and fewer of those big, awful glasses, because our styles here have gotten smaller. And so those glasses that are being recycled are the more fashionable ones.
What kind of conditions do you see in the countries? What was the worst, and what country was the worst?
The worst one was Guatemala. And now then, the thing is, when we go on a budget. Everybody pays their own way. That, the first word in VOSH is volunteer. So everybody pays their own way. And so we're very conscious of cost. And so we don't stay in 5-star hotels. We stay pretty much in accommodations that the average person traveling there would. So in Guatemala, we were going to be in a very, very remote area called Comatasia. And it was in the mountain area, about 8,500 feet elevation. And we were going to visit, you know, just the very, very poorest of the poor, underserved. So the woman that was organizing it found this hotel, and I use that very loosely. After about a 6 or 7 hour trip to get there, we are greeted with this corrugated metal door, kind of a sliding door to this cement brick building, and they pulled back the door and said, "This is your hostel that we're staying in." And all of us just sort of, you know, took a deep breath and went, okay. It was, I can't even describe it to you. It was bad.
Rustic?
It was rustic, to say the least. We walked in the foyer of it, there was an old rusted bicycle, there were some broken concrete blocks, and it was, you know, just a mess. And we walked through that little corridor, and it opened up into a little bit nicer area. The rooms were very sparse. Most of them did not have a bathroom. The room we were in did have our own bathroom, so to speak. There were 3 very small single beds I shared with 2 other women, and a window, and basically that was it in this little bathroom. The bathroom door was hysterical, locked from the outside. So when you went in, you know, somebody had to kind of lock you in, and then you'd have to rap on the door when you were done to come out. The shower was one of these, it's very unique, and it's pretty normal in Nicaragua and Honduras and those places. I had seen it before. The heater is actually up on the shower head. And so, you know, there are like bare wires hanging off when you turn on the hot water. So that is a very unique situation. But the interesting thing about that one was what made it so rustic was that about 2 days into our clinics, a water main broke, and so we had no water. We had no running water, so we couldn't flush the toilets, and we couldn't take showers. So we had a lot of the little wipes. We were using those a lot. And that was, I think, 2.5 days we had no water. So it was getting to be a little bit dicey, to say the least. Anywhere from, the trips I've been on are anywhere from probably $1,100 to maybe, Tanzania was the most expensive, and it was around $3,000. So
How long are you usually gone?
about 10 days. So actually, in the grand scheme of things, it's a very inexpensive way to travel. We tend to try to find the least expensive airfare. And again, the accommodations are very Spartan. So they're pretty inexpensive to stay there. And the food, most of the time our hosts provide our breakfast and our lunch. Sometimes our dinner as well. So, and then usually at the end of the clinics, we have 2 or 3 days that we do R&R, and that's a lot of times on our own. So you add that to the expense to it.